I've been hearing this all morning, and it goes on every day. Every day. So as I'm checking out this new area being developed right behind our house that's been cornfields for the longest time, I'd come by here day after day to check it out. And as I'm looking, I got a comment from my America's No Longer America video where it says they like to see more of the video of the apartment with the meth head. Well, glad you asked. I'll explain it as I take my routine walk for exercise. So a year and a half ago, when I was talking about how I was living with one of my buddies in high school, I'm not going to talk about what happened between him and I because I still care about the guy. I'm still his friend, and something happened between us and I had to pack up and leave. So I went to Boston because I went to bartending school with a certificate, passed it with 95%, memorized cocktails, studied bartending since 2018. So I felt like I was the right fit, had experience in Miami Beach, had experience at a catering before I got discriminated and singled out for getting a girl's number. So let's get that out of the way and get straight to the story. So I was homeless, living in my car in Boston, doing DoorDash to stack up money because I was just there to look for a bartending job. So after all that, I immediately was looking for places to rent. I checked Facebook Marketplace as there was places that were affordable. They had Boston Roommates Facebook group page. So I was looking and looking. I found one place here, didn't work out very well. Found this one place. The guy did false advertising, wanted more rent and more down payment, more deposit. That's a no. This one place, I can't remember the name of it, it was Brighton or something like that, south of downtown Boston. And they said it was $700 a month, but then it was $1,700 a month. Basically shared a room with someone next to you with one kitchen. There was another place I really liked. I really liked this guy. He was really cool. It was kind of like a Family Guy living style where everyone has the same area and telling jokes. It was $900 a month, but it wasn't available till September, and this was April. So that was out of the question. So to cut on with the chase, I was looking at places to live, looking places to rent, but due to my income with DoorDash, it wasn't sustainable enough to afford any of the rent or anything. This was $15 an hour back at DoorDash. I was trying to get bartending, but I was rejected 30 times. And there was a battle between here and there. I have videos about that. I'll put that in the description. So, moving on. I was at the Motel 6 in Danvers where I would shower and stuff, but it was too expensive. It was like $117 a night just for a Wednesday. And a weekend, well, I dare not to stay on a weekend, so I didn't go on a weekend. I think it's probably like $200 something. Either way, too expensive for that little bit of value. It was the middle of summertime when I found a hole in the wall room without the renovated, and it was $118 at 95-degree summertime. So moving on, I was at the Motel 6. I bought some pot at a dispensary, and I was heading into my car about to smoke. And then this chick right next to me looked like she was on drugs, skin and bones, and she was talking about how there was this place up in Lynn where they needed a room to rent for $750 a month. And I was like, I'll look into it. And I didn't know anything about Lynn back then. Apparently Lynn is like a really bad area. It's not called the city of sin for nothing. It's gotten better compared to what people told me it was. But so after that, I started traveling to Cape Cod just to check it out. It was pretty scenery with all the beaches and the high altitude with the ocean and the clear water and seeing the sand about 200 feet down. It was quite a scenery. And after that day of being in Cape Cod, the landlord, whoever was renting the room, texted me, and that was the person on meth that I was talking about. And I was somewhat interested, but then I wasn't because it sounded kind of sketchy. So after all that, I went back to Maine. I found a job at Applebee's trying to be a bartender, and I got my foot in the door, but then they didn't want me bartending because I wasn't social enough. But if it's training, you need to shut up and listen and do what you're told and listen until you get bartending. Then you can socialize because, well, it makes sense. Well, that wasn't the case here. So I decided to stop showing up. I was pulled over for the 5th and 6th time, like I talked about in my other video, for a headlight being out the same side and same night. It was getting really annoying, and so I decided to stop living in Maine. And so I texted that person saying, okay, I wish to rent here. And I told her in advance, like, I have no money down whatsoever. I will stack some up in the future if we can work on that. It's like, no, don't worry about it. Just stay here. And I was sleeping on the floor most of the time. And I went and explored Lynn. It's a very Spanish area, kind of like sketchy ghetto area, but everything was so walkable. They had like a Cuban deli right there. They had like a Guatemala Spanish place with this cool energy drink called Adrenaline Rush. Out of every energy drink I've had, that by far was the best quality. And so after a while of settling in there, that she was just off her mind on drugs. Like, the first week I moved in, all my stuff was in there and I didn't have a key yet. So I'd be locked out. I have to wait till she gets back from work just to come in. And that was fun. You know, totally not sketchy or stupid to do something like that. But I mean, when you're homeless, you just got to do what you got to do. And I remember, like, this chick was weird, man. Like, time after time, you can hear her talking to herself just in the kitchen, staring at a wall. And she'd be talking about some crazy stuff, like wanting to kill her ex-boyfriend, taking custody of her kids, getting revenge, and how she wants to run away and go to Miami or something, like stuff like that. And I come in there and be like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah, everything's all right. And I'm like, okay. There was a time me and that other roommate who recommended me the place, her and I both smelt something weird. It smelled maybe like something you would smell in a car battery or an electric part of a car. And it was a pipe. And I did some research and it turned out to be meth. So this chick was basically smoking meth. And I did not stay there for long, so there really wasn't much to talk about. And the reason I didn't stay was because of non-payment, and this is probably what saved my ass. I wasn't making money with DoorDash. I wasn't able to land a bartending job, and when I did land a bartending job, I was kicked out a day or two because everything was so fast-paced and highly competitive because it was so oversaturated with bartenders and workers. So basically, if you didn't know what you were doing, even without training or anything, they just boot you out. They were picking favorites at this one bar I worked at the day after I was kicked out. So there's that. Moving on to the apartment. I remember that video I recorded where she was talking to herself. That was just a sample of what I dealt with. There was one night she played R&B music so loud that you could literally hear it like 20 feet outside. And when I talked to her about it, she would say, oh, sorry, I'm having sex. And I'm like, I'd rather listen to sex sounds than like R&B music bumping everything to where I can't sleep. Like, sex sounds I'm used to from neighbors in my apartment, you can tune that shit out. But this, like, wow. So anyway, she was just really weird, asking me for money, like fixing her exhaust, asking money for groceries and necessities. There was a time, like, I would catch her in the bathroom butt naked and being like, please, I need help with my plumbing. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so it was really strange. It's so sad because that area was in such a great location. I was like right off the ocean. It was about a 10 or 15 minute walk right to the beach. And that one day I walked to the coast of Lynn, it was in such a great area, but it's unfortunate the area is in such a high crime area. Overall, like, the chick would constantly talk to herself, say a bunch of stuff about killing her ex, taking custody of her kids, wanting to get revenge on her ex, just saying stuff that made her seem like a psycho. So that's why when you see that video, there's a gallon of piss in there. That's because I was too scared to go out and use the bathroom because of the stuff she was saying. I was like, I don't want to die. And so I think it was 2 weeks I was there or something like that. I really can't remember. But I woke up one morning with a text saying that I basically had to leave and there were 2 people coming to take over and that they were coming in tonight. I had to pack up and get all my stuff. And then she wanted me to move to one of her friends in Brockton. And it was some dude who sounded like a sketchy drug dealer on the phone. And Brockton was about, I think, 45 minutes south of downtown or something like that. And it was further south of Quincy. So that was a big no. And all in all, it was just really, really sketchy. I'm kind of glad I got out of there when I did. As I was packing everything, I kind of just sat there and was like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is this my life? I made one last video in the room before I left, which I'll show a video here somewhere. But all in all, that's what happened. I was trying to find a place to rent, and when I went to that place, I didn't think it was even worth $750 to live there. All in all, Boston, it's a tough place to live. Like, I wouldn't even settle that much. I was better off sleeping in my car. And I ended up getting a bartending job the day after, I think Central Wharf. But unfortunately, I was sleeping in my car with 4 hours of sleep. So I wasn't awake and active. And one of my coworkers was just getting frustrated with me, and everybody was getting frustrated. They thought I was mentally challenged, I guess, and demoted me to dishwashing and barback. But even then, they didn't train me how to do that. And I saw they were picking favorites with the bartender's brother, and he was making the same mistakes I was. But he got away with things, and they didn't really get mad at him, but they got mad at me. And so the moment I saw they were picking favorites, I decided to never go back to that bar. All in all, that situation living with that meth addict was weird. I actually messaged her a few months ago, asked her if my W-2 was there. She said nothing was there, so there's that. I definitely don't want to go back to that area anytime soon. It's really sad because it was in such a well-developed area. Like, everything was in such walkable distance. You had like this cool Spanish restaurants and Spanish cuisines, and a Mexican place here, a Spanish building here, a Spanish mini mart open 24 hours that had all kinds of cool foreign stuff. I did miss walking towards the coast of Lynn. It was in a well area, but just living with that psychopath was not worth it.